May not be.
But if it is over, I want Balor versus Lee.
Yeah, I would draw the same conclusion. Like, we weren't trying to spoil it earlier because, like, we were trying to be like, we think he deserves a title shot, but we didn't want to spoil, like, the winners of, like, this match, the world title match later. But yeah, I would completely agree. I'm like, Finn Balor and Keith Lee, I mean, especially, like, seeing what he did here with Johnny Gargano, and, like, Finn Balor is, like, kind of like the same kind of build as Johnny.
Yeah.
In terms of, like, size and stature, so...
I actually think Johnny's great, but I think Balor's actually better than Johnny.
I could agree with that.
It's close.
It is close.
It's close. They're both, like, two of the best wrestlers in NXT. Like,
yeah.
let's not...
And two of the best workers on the planet. Really.
Yeah. And I think Johnny did a good job. I'm really interested to see where this heel run goes for Johnny.
I am interested to see where that goes as well. To me, Keith Lee, like, in terms of, like, the agile big men that could work with the smaller guys, he kind of reminds me of, like, a Vader.
Yeah, I get that too.
Yeah, that's kind of who he reminds me of. Yeah, like, later in the match... I
think he's better than Vader, though.
Yeah, you could say that. You could say that, I guess. Because later in the match, Candice and Mia Yim would get involved, as you said, and then he'd have the key from the door, which he'd use to gouge the eye, and then he'd do the slingshot DDT, and then he'd super kick him over and over again, trying to put him away, and then Lee would
that
not.
Was cool.
Yeah, Lee was resilient and would not give up.
Moment.
It was, and then he would get him with the Spirit Bomb, and then another Power Bomb, then hit the Big Bang Catastrophe, and then he would pick up the win that way. 20 minutes and 34 seconds this match would get.
What do we give this star-wise?
3 3/4 from you, and then I think I'm going to go along with that as well.
Yep, really good. Again, NXT Takeover matches, especially with Gargano, always deliver. I mean, he's Mr. Takeover.
Yeah.
I mean, he is the best Takeover performer by far.
Oh yeah, that's hands down without a question. Nobody's put together more classics than Johnny. That's for sure.
Yeah, the only one that comes close is Ciampa.
Ciampa and Balor.
And most of their classics, most of Ciampa's classics were with Johnny. But
yeah.
Johnny has the natural elements and all that, and of course Balor has some matches with Joe and people like that.
Yeah, then he got Adam Cole, who's like not too far behind him either.
Yeah, he's starting to come up because I think Adam Cole's the best world champion in the history of the company, in the history of NXT.
I would agree now. I remember the reign in particular. I really enjoyed his. I was a really big fan of Bobby Roode's reign. But
that was good.
But I think I would agree. Adam Cole at this point's got to be the best champ, I'd say, in history. So then we'd have another.
Speaking of Adam Cole,
yeah,
that's soon.
That's coming up next. But before that, we'd have another WWE ice cream bar commercial, and then they'd show the NXT Women's Champion Charlotte Flair backstage before the Triple Threat later in the evening. So they'd show all three of the participants in that match. Then next, we'd have the Backlot Brawl for the NXT Championship between Adam Cole and Velveteen Dream. So this would be the fourth match on the card, and which would then lead to the NXT Women's Championship getting the main event of the show.
Yeah, I knew when this was the fourth match on the card. I think I told you. I said, one, I think Adam Cole's going to win now. Because it's the fourth match on the card. And two, it must not have delivered like they wanted it to.
Yeah, because if this would have closed the show... Yeah, because if this would have closed the show, like, we're going to talk about it obviously in detail, but not for nothing. Both guys are talented. Adam Cole, as you said, you think he's the greatest NXT champion of all time, and I would probably agree. But this...
Velveteen's a top talent, and he's obviously, he's the future of the company.
Yeah, but if this would have closed the show, it probably would have left for some, it would have left like a rather sour taste to close the show.
My big issue was, one, I think the actual moves were okay. I thought the camera work was really bad.
Yeah, this was not their best work for the cinematic matches they've done so far.
The lights were so distracting.
Oh, the lights in the beginning, especially with all the cars and everything, that was horrible.
I like the moments with obviously Undisputed Era coming in and then seeing Samuel Shaw, Jesus.
Or Dexter Willis.
Texture wounds.
See,
Yeah, sorry,
I see what you mean. No, I see what you mean though. It's like you watch him like in other promotions and you get accustomed to that. So then like they'll
Yeah.
you think of
I
him.
don't know what he's been in NXT for so long. He's the only one that I still do that with. But
Well, he still wears the same gear.
Yeah. Obviously, I think that was funny when that happened. The finish was crazy.
Yes.
It was a great finish, but I just think that the match was kind of underwhelming.
Yeah.
Especially since, in my opinion, Velveteen needed to bring it. I liked that he dressed as Negan. That was cool. He came in with the really cool sports car, and Adam Cole came with the truck. I don't know what a sports car was because I know cars about as well as a blind man knows sight. But then you had the moment where you had a great moment in the match. Like I said, the ending. Obviously, Adam Cole ended up retaining. I think what they say his reign is at 72 days?
74, I believe.
So he's going to get to 400 days.
Oh, for sure. And that car that Velveteen drove in was a yellow Lamborghini to answer that. Okay. So there would be some like quick pinfalls in the beginning, and then Cole would try to leave in a nearby car, but then Dream would begin to smash the car with the baseball bat, and then they'd fight it out, and then there's an Uber driver that would pull up, and then he'd fight through the Uber car. They were trying to be funny, I think, there, but I don't really know if that worked.
I don't think it did.
And then Cole was able to get some distance from him, and then Dream would, he tossed Dream into a steel post, and then he'd try to hide from him again, and then he'd sneak into a building, and then Velveteen would open the door, and then he'd use a fire extinguisher on him.
That was funny.
That part was kind of funny.
Yeah, right. But yeah, you'll get to it. But I want to talk about the spot with the windshield. That looked brutal.
Oh yeah. So then there would be a ladder that would be brought into play, and then both guys would climb the top of there. And I made a joke that what if he did the Panama Sunrise off the ladder?
No, he would have killed him. That would have been
No, yeah, I made a joke. I mean, obviously, what would have followed from there? I mean, that would have been super dangerous. So that wouldn't have been funny there. But I'm like, could you just imagine? So then he would drop Cole from the ladder, and then he'd land on the top of the car.
Yeah, so I want to talk about this. Adam Cole got busted open here on his arm.
Yeah, so he get a good cut from that too.
It looked like it hurt like hell. And as you know, Adam Cole is not afraid to take crazy bumps. I mean, look at the one he took in the War Games match.
Oh yeah,
he's not afraid to take these bumps that are just out of this world.
That was one of the worst bumps I'd ever seen.
Yeah, I mean this was bad, obviously, and then you could. Velveteen was on top of the ladder, I think, and that's when Undisputed Era would show up. Yeah,
Undisputed Era would arrive. Roderick Strong and Bobby Fish, they'd drive up. They try to distract Velveteen, but then actually no, that would come actually after he knocked him off the ladder. Then they start getting involved.
Yeah, but then they didn't distract him. They just beat the crap out of him.
Well, no, they try to distract him when they're up on the ladder, but then he fell through the windshield. Then they started getting involved.
Yeah. They beat the crap out of him, and then, Cameron, they threw about 50,000 chairs in the ring.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and Mauro Renault would point out that, this is kind of like, I guess, ECW when they're just throwing all the chairs in the ring and stuff, but also, that's another thing. Did they need commentary to like call this like match even when it was cinematic like that?
Maybe because there was a ring and they were actually like fighting by a ring, I guess.
Uh-huh.
I mean, think about this. They called the Stampede match.
They did call the Stampede match. I just feel like with the way it was shot, it was differently because they kind of shot it where it's still like in real motion, where it was cinematic because, it was pre-taped and everything. But like I feel like since it was still in live motion and everything, and this was kind of shot where it was like more like a short film kind of setting, kind of like the other cinematic matches, I think it's just a little bit different. It's kind of like when they, even though I wasn't like a fan of how they ended up doing it, like with Ciampa and Gargano, if there would have been commentary during that, I think that would have like kind of like made it like come off like worse.
Yeah, but
because they're just fighting in this random spot basically.
I'm the biggest. So after the chairs in the ring, that's when Dexter would show up
from underneath the ring.
Yeah, and then he kidnapped the Undisputed Era in a trunk.
Yeah, and then he'd drive off. He's interesting to say the least.
Adam Cole, we'll probably hear about that on NXT on Wednesday. And then it would just be Adam Cole and Velveteen. They fight, get some spots on the chair. And how would the match end, Cameron?
The match would end with all the chairs piled in the ring. Velveteen would try to pick up Cole, and then he would give him a terrible low blow. That one actually looked like it hurt.
Oh, God, yeah. Dude, that was like... I was sitting in the room with my dad, who doesn't watch a lot of pro wrestling, and he even went, oh!
Yeah, and then
when he got hit.
And then following that would be the Panama Sunrise onto the chairs in the center of the ring. He'd cover Velveteen and retain the NXT Championship.
Thank God, the savior of NXT, the greatest world champion in NXT history, is still your NXT champion. I'm happy about this because I love Adam Cole, obviously, but I actually don't know if Velveteen is now.
Maybe
he has to get called up, right?
Yeah, because what else can he do at this moment?
Because he's not going to go for the North American. He's already had it.
Yeah, and then him and Keith Lee wouldn't really work.
Yeah, I don't know.
Not in this setting, especially.
But I don't know. I don't know if I want him to get called up yet.
Yeah, because they're calling a bunch of people up. Like Matt Riddle's been called up. Dominic Dijakovic's been called up. Apparently, there's more call-ups that are going to happen. But yeah, I don't. Where would you put him on the main roster too? If you did,
maybe you smash. I don't know. I don't think he should be called up, but we'll see what happens.
I just don't know what you do with him. Obviously, Cole's the champion, so I mean.
Well, yeah, but he just did the thing where the stipulation was if he loses, he can never challenge for the world title again while Adam Cole's champion.
No, I get that, but I guess because this was the last chance match. But no, I get that, but I guess he's the champion. But I guess my next thing I was going to say is, even for Cole, it's like he's beaten like basically everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, there's still Keith Lee, I guess, but he's still the North American champion.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I didn't like this match. I gave it 2 stars.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
And I love Adam Cole, but I just didn't think this was it, and I don't think we need to ever see this match again.
No, but it's painful to say that because he's so great. I just hate like rating a match like that low for him. But what can I say? It was neither one of these guys' fault.
No, I just think the concept of the match is kind of bad. But let's move on from this.
And of all the cinematic matches WWE's done so far, I'd put this one probably at the bottom because the only one I really liked was the Boneyard match. Like that match was like amazing. Like that was some of the best stuff I'd seen him do.
I actually still prefer that to the Stampede.
I don't know if I do, only because I mean they're both great in their own ways, and they're both great. It's tough to say. I think the Stampede match is far more creative. I just think what put it over the top for the Boneyard matches it was Taker and just like it fit. It's like so I give them. They both are great in their own ways.
Yep.
But that was weird because also the people who had shot that match, the Boneyard match, are the same people that would have done this match.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think that maybe the concept of it wasn't great, but I don't really have anything else to say about it.
And they did like the Money in the Bank match as like a cinematic match, and then they did the Firefly.
Talk about the Money in the Bank match. That was terrible.
Yeah, but then they did the Firefly Funhouse match. They did the Ciampa and Gargano. They did the Ciampa and Gargano like final battle deal, and I mean, the Boneyard match was the only one I really really liked, and like as I said, I found entertainment value like when they did the Funhouse match. I found like entertainment value in it. And I mean, I didn't like it as a match because it wasn't like, I guess it wasn't like really a match, but it was a match because it was like promoted as such. So like you can't really say it wasn't a match, but even then, it's like even though like in terms of a match, I didn't really like it a lot. It worked for some people, so in some ways it was like a success, I guess you could say. But the Money in the Bank match, I mean, there's people who even like that. I thought that was just a mess. And then Ciampa and Gargano, that one was just weird just because it's like, it's more so because of like the ending and the finish, because it's like these guys they just find this like building or whatever, and then they just fight each other for like 45 minutes, 50 minutes, like whatever. Like they gave really like mostly like the second hour of that like show like to that, and then there's battle, and then like in the end, Candace just comes in, she like elbows Johnny, and then like she's like, if he won't fix this, then like I will, and then like then Ciampa